last few episodes, I talked about how drives came in to India and that being the first product of industrial automation in India. Today, I'm going to tell you something very interesting about how PLCs came to India, and DBK again was involved in it. As DBK, we were selling drives to a lot of cement plants, and one of the clients was Orient Cements. Myself and Jayanta Chatterjee, my colleague, we were with Mr. G.P. Sinha, who had recently taken over as the project manager for Orient Cements for their new plant coming up in Andhra Pradesh, and we were talking to him about drives. After the conversation, as we started chatting, he mentioned that, look, if you are really interested in growing your company, then you should actually add PLCs to the range of your product lines, because that's going to be the future. And that all cement plants will be using PLCs and instead of relay logic or static logic. And at that time, quite a number of cement plants were going to come, and therefore the potential looked pretty good. We asked him for some names of PLC manufacturers, and he mentioned a few names, and particularly he mentioned about Allen Bradley being one of the leaders. So taking cue from him, we started writing to all the big manufacturers of PLCs, including to Allen Bradley. We got a response from Allen Bradley through a teleprinter. In those days there were no mobiles or fax machines. We had to rely on STDs or international STDs as well as teleprinters. So we sent a teleprinter message to them saying that we were interested in some tie-up and looking at the possibility of tying up for PLCs in India. And we got a reply quite fast for those days back on a teleprinter telling us that two of their senior members of the company were in India, and they were looking at the possibility of looking for partners in India for selling their PLCs and their products. They mentioned the name of one Mr. Poritz, who was their Vice President of Business Development, and that they were staying in a hotel in Bangalore, but their program was full and all scheduled, and therefore they did not know whether they'll have any time or not, and we could contact them. My boss, Dhruv Khaitan, he actually contacted them in Bangalore in the hotel, and Pat came the reply from them that they are full up, they have completely full on schedules, but however they can possibly give us half an hour time during lunch at Chennai. If we could come down to Chennai, we used to be in Calcutta, and if you could come down to Chennai for lunch for half an hour on a particular day. The other option they gave us was that they were going to travel between Calcutta to Kumar Dubi, because they were also in talk with McNally Bharat, in addition to the other bigger companies that they were talking to, like L&T, Kirloskar, Nelco, etc. And they said they could meet us during those 2-hour train journey. So we internally discussed, and we thought that, meeting them in Chennai for half an hour would be better, because that would give us a second opportunity to meet if the need arose. And we actually met them in Chennai. The meeting, which was supposed to be for half an hour, it went on for an hour and a half. It was interesting because my colleague Jayanta Chatterjee and Ranjan De, they were my colleagues in DBK, both had been doing a lot of work on finding about PLCs, their demand, where it is used, and what are the industries that could be used, etc. And though we had a pretty good dossier actually prepared by them, and myself and Dhruv, we had this dossier with us, and we could discuss with them on business, telling them that if we could tie up with them, we could give them immediate business out of a number of cement plants that were going to come. So this interested them, but however, the discussion could not go far because of lack of time, and they said they would like to meet us again during the train journey between Calcutta and Kumar Dubi 2 days from then. As it happened, unfortunately, when we went back to Calcutta, we never heard anything from them, and we thought anyway the opportunity is lost, and that they have already probably finalized on somebody else. But surprisingly, about a week later, we got a teleprinter message from Allen Bradley saying that whether we would be interested in taking up a non-exclusive distributorship for their products in India. And we understood from them that one of the two, Mr. Porritz and the other gentleman, fell ill while in Chennai, and then they went back from Chennai without going to any other place, and therefore they had not met all the customers, all the suppliers or vendors whom they had wanted to meet, but could meet only a limited few. So they went back, and then obviously, because they were, I think, quite keen to see what we had to offer, they said they could offer us an distributorship, but it would be absolutely non-exclusive, and that they were free to look for any other partner on a long term. We internally discussed and we thought, let's not lose this opportunity, and we took this opportunity and became their non-exclusive distributorship, and we signed the agreement with them a few weeks later. After having signed the agreement with Allen Bradley for being their non-exclusive distributor in India, we started about taking some training. Our engineers were put on training on their products, etc. In the meantime, I visited actually Tumkur to Mysore Cements for some of their projects for drives business. And when I was there, I chanced to meet their president, Mr. N.L. Hamirvasia. N.L. Hamirvasia is a very aggressive person, by the way, and he was the president of Mysore Cements. And I mentioned to him, after the order was placed for the drives, I mentioned to him that we've also signed up with Allen Bradley for PLCs. He said, hang on, let me call my consultants. So he had appointed Entech consultants from Chennai as their consultants for them, for the new projects which was coming up in Damo in the name of Diamond Cements. And he told them that, look, money is here, and he tells us that he signed an agreement with Allen Bradley to be their distributor, and that he could offer PLC systems. Do you think we can use it in our cement plant? And Balachandran and Srikantan, they were the partners in Entech. Both were known to me because Srikantan was earlier in Holtech, and Bala, of course, was a closer old friend of mine. And both of them said that PLCs will be very useful for their new cement plant, and that anyway they had to procure a PLC. Therefore, Mr. Hamirvasia just looked at me and said that, look, I will take the PLCs from you, Allen Bradley PLC, and I'm going to give you 28 lakhs for that. I did not get the logic of how it was 28 lakhs, but he said, that's all that I can pay. And if you are interested, I give you the letter of intent. Now, I looked at Bala and Srikantan, and they mentioned to me that actually it would be just okay price. And probably, of course, they also did not know the cost. I also did not know the cost. But we just took the chance, and I talked to Dhruv Khaitan, my boss, on a call, and he confirmed to me that, if he is going to give you the order, you take it, because this will be our first order for PLC in India. And therefore, I came back to Mr. Hamirvasia and told him that we'll take the order at 28 lakhs. And we took the order at 28 lakhs and got our first PLC order in India for Allen Bradley. It was 1774, I think PLC 1, 1774, and 1778 I'm not too sure about it today, but I think that was the first order. I will cover in the next episode how we moved forward with Allen Bradley for PLCs in the other projects and other cement plants that came up at that time. Thank you.